So I think we start with 37, yeah? We start with verse 37, and then we go through 41, yeah? Okay. One thing I want to thank all of you. Two of you didn't get the message, I guess, but I want to thank all of you for wearing white today so that I would feel more comfortable. Very kind of you. I feel right at home. Actually, it's a pleasure. Oh, I'll talk about it in a minute. So let's read 37. So maybe these, I'll just read the Sanskrit and the English, okay? So you can just listen, okay? Suryaschastam gatastavat tamasa chavrita dishaha nimnam kulam jalamayam na pragyayat kinchana. Then, as the sun set, the forest was covered by darkness in every direction, and with all the flooding, we could not distinguish high land from low. Vayam brisham tatra maha nilambudhir dehanyamana mahor ambusam prave disho vidanto taparasparam bane grihita hasta pariban brimatura. This is Krishna speaking, right? Translation. Constantly besieged by the powerful wind and rain, we lost our way amidst the flooding waters. We simply held each other's hands and in great distress wandered aimlessly about the forest. Purport by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Sridhar Swami points out that the verb paribhabrima may be understood to be the prefix pari with either the verb bri or brahm. In the case of brahm, it indicates that Krishna and Sudama wandered all about. And in the case of bri, which means to carry, it indicates that as the two young boys wandered about, they continued to carry the firewood they had secured for their spiritual master. So despite all threats and difficulties, they continued to serve their Guru Maharaj. The flooding is there, the rain is there, the wind is there, but they're holding on to the wood because they have that for their Guru Maharaj. Etad vihitva udite bravo sandi panir guru anvesham mano nasishan acharyo pashad ataran. Our Guru Sandipani, understanding our predicament, set out after sunrise to search for us, his disciples, and found us in distress. Aho he putraka yuyam asmad arti tidukitaha atmavai praninam preshtas tam annadrichamatparaha. Sandipani said, O my children, you have suffered so much for my sake. The body is most dear to every living creature, but you are so dedicated to me that you completely disregarded your own comfort. Okay, and then we do this one together, okay? Etad eva hi sach chishyai. We'll do it higher. Etad eva hi sach chishyai. Kartavyam guru niskritam. Yadvai vishuddha bhavena. Sarvatatma param guru. Etat eva hi sach chishyai. Kartavyam guru niskritam. Yadvai vishuddha bhavena. Sarvatatma param guru. Etat eva hi sach chishyai. Kartavyam guru niskritam. Yadvai vishuddha bhavena. Sarvanamat param guru. One more? I'm just thinking, watching you all read the verses on your smartphone, just to give you some concept. I'm so old. When I was a brahmachari, no one had a smartphone. Long time past, huh? Ancient history. No brahmachari had a smartphone because there were no smartphones. There were no pocket phones. There was all lines. I heard the Indian Minister of Economy speak one time at an event, and he was saying that in order for India to catch up with the world for telephones, he said we'd have to lay something like 5 million miles of phone lines, crores and crores of phone lines. But then the technology changed. And now all the rickshawwalas, right? They all have a phone. So I don't know what Deva is in charge of technology, but he gave special benediction to India. They didn't have to put all the phone lines down. Okay, so word for word. Etat, this. Eva, alone. He, certainly. Sat, true. Sishyai, by disciples. Kartavyam, to be done. Guru, to the spiritual master. Nishkritam, repayment of one's debt. Yat, which. Vai, indeed. Vishuddha, completely pure. Bhavena, with an attitude. Sarva, of all. Artha, assets. Atma, and one's body. Arpanam, the offering. Guru, to one's spiritual master. Translation. This indeed is the duty of all true disciples. Who's speaking now? No, now it's Sandipani Muni, I think, right? Yeah. Krishna was speaking now, Sandipani Muni is saying. This indeed is the duty of all true disciples, to repay the debt to their spiritual master by offering him with pure hearts their wealth and even their very lives. So please repeat. This indeed is the duty of all true disciples, to repay the debt their spiritual master by offering him with pure hearts their wealth and even their very lives. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Again, we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam 10:80-41. One engages one's body to realize one's purposes, or desires, you could say. You use your body to seek whatever desire you have. The body is also the basis of the material conception of I, while one's fortune is the basis of the conception of mine. Thus, by offering everything to the spiritual master, one realizes oneself to be an eternal servant of the Lord. The spiritual master does not exploit the disciple, but rather engages him fully in Krishna consciousness for the disciple's eternal benefit. Om Gyanatamyandasha Janan Anjana Shalakaya Chakshu Umritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapanantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So again, it's my good fortune and pleasure to visit Newtown, Calcutta. They call Newtown, Calcutta, right? And we've had this building how many years now? This is new, I know. I came before. This wasn't here. 5 years. This. Okay, good. So I think I've been here 3-4 times. Yeah, it's very nice to see all the devotees again. I'm waiting to see the deities. I remember when I first came here, when they were installed, one evening, you could see them through the windows like stunned by how beautiful the deities are. So you're also very beautiful, but I'm waiting to see them. So very important section. So much could be said about this. I'll just share a few thoughts. So it's describing here the debt that we owe to our guru. And of course, we understand we actually have many gurus. Very important. Because sometimes we see this happens in ISKCON. We start thinking, I only have one guru, and I have a debt to him. You have a different guru. You have a debt to him. So we're on a different path. And then sometimes even quarrels come in understanding who's our guru, what's our debt to guru, how we should serve guru. So we know, just to look at the broader picture, the Shastras explains we have many gurus, right? Prabhupada explains sometimes the father is the guru, the mother is the guru. None of you are married here, right? But you see families with little kids, and you see how the child is completely dependent on the parent. You know, even like this, the little baby, you put the baby down, nobody takes care. Baby's dead in 1 or 2 days. Terrible death. Or even when they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, they run into the street. The mother has to stop them. The father has to stop them. They have to give them food, give them clothes, get them a bath until they're, at least even like at 10, you need education. The parents have to give you so much guidance. Even when you're 17, sometimes you make some mistakes. So we need the guidance. So the parents are the guru. We have so many teachers that are our gurus, right? We have Paramatma is also the guru, certainly. And Bhartma Pradarshika Guru is there. Initiating Guru is there. Diksha Guru is there. Siksha Guru is there. We have so many different gurus. So we owe all of them. And we should certainly respect all of them. The devas are also described. We have our debts to the devas. If you just think about it, in the morning here, sometimes it's a little stuffy in the temple room. Right? Everybody goes outside. Nice fresh air. So did you make the air? Did you make the sunshine? How about the water? I'm drinking water. Did I make the water? Could I live without water? There was some old movie ITV put out. It was, I think, Bengali movie years ago. This is life. You ever seen that? It's this whole thing. Krishna comes to him and eventually he realizes his nonsense. It's a nice movie the devotees shared. They're not open now, are they? Okay. I mean, we want them to come soon. Right? So there was some contest, and one man, he won the contest because it was said, what's more important, water? I think water or air. And he said, well, water is food. Food you can get by a week or two without food. You can get by 3, 4 days without water, maybe a little longer. Air, 3, 4 minutes, isn't it? So air is so important, but we take it for granted, air. And then so often around the world, we're polluting the air without thinking how valuable it is. People are trying to get the newest smartphone and television sets and washer dryer and luxury apartment on the 17th floor, right? Those things you can live without, but you can't live without air. You can't live without water. Can't live without food. So we are given all these things. Our parents gave us these things. Our teachers gave us these things. Our gurus gave us these things. So we have a debt to all of these people. Prabhupada was asked one time, what do you think of Jesus? You know what he said? He said, he's our guru. Okay. Why? Because he came representative Krishna. Prabhupada says, Bhartma Pradarshika Guru. No, Shaktaveshavatar, excuse me, Shaktaveshavatar. He came to teach love of God, so we accept him as guru. So here is describing in this verse that the disciple has to be prepared to repay the guru. Specifically, Sandipani Muni says, with your wealth and even their very lives. So what is our wealth? We don't have much wealth. Even just some wealthy person, you have, Chanchala, right? Lakshmi is Chanchala. You see it happens sometimes. Some person is very wealthy one day, next day it's finished. Sometimes they have nothing, the next day they're wealthy. Sometimes the family is very wealthy for many, many years, and then it's all lost. One time I was visiting some home of some very wealthy people, and I was in the library. I like to look at the books when I'm visiting someone's home. It gives you an idea of what's important to them, and maybe learn a couple things. So this one house, they didn't have very many books, but they had books like I'd never seen anywhere before. The books were titles like How to Make Sure You Leave Your Son All of Your Money, How to Pass on the Family Chores. Those are like titles. And I suddenly realized these people with a lot of money, we're all thinking life is easy if you have a lot of money, right? I mean, devotees, we know it's difficult, but materialistic people, and we're also thinking a little bit, they have everything so easy, big house, big car, so much bank balance. But in their mind, they're thinking, my father gave me so much, how do I give the same thing to the next generation? How do I not let it decrease? And they're seeing, oh, this other rich family, they invested in whatever, steel or whatever, something, plastics, drug company, whatever, IT. They're making so much more money, but my wealth is not increased. So how can I live like that? Like a king, he wants to expand his kingdom, right? So whatever wealth we have, big, small, in the eyes of Krishna, it's nothing. It's nothing. So, it's explained, Krishna is more pleased. If we have one paisa, but we give it to Krishna with devotion, that's much more pleasing to him than some wealthy person that gives some big, huge amount, but they have so much more. So wealth is there. We should try to offer to the Guru, to Krishna, but also this guys, we should try to offer our whole lives. So what does that mean, offering our whole lives? It means, of course, we render humble service to the Guru, to our Diksha Gurus, Siksha Gurus. We offer humble service. But also, there's an expression. In Chicago, Ramapad Swami stays there sometimes, and he has a quote on his desk. I think it's from Gandhi. Something like this. It says, the most important way to show respect or to glorify someone is to give your time to their mission. You can say like Mahatma Gandhi ki jai in that era, okay? Or you can try to help India become independent. That was his cause, right? So we can say Prabhupada ki jai, right? That's nice. Prabhupada ki jai, jai-o, jai-o, jai-o. Or we can give our lives to his mission. Which one do you think is more pleasing? If you only had one, obviously, right? Giving the mission. We should do both, but we should give our life to the mission. So that's being described here. So what does that mean, giving our life to the mission? Prabhupada said your first duty, what do you say? Who can say? He said your first duty is to do what? Save who? Yourself, right? Because if you save yourself, then you can save others. Like you mentioned the seminar, spiritual leadership seminar, being guru in ISKCON. They just finished teaching it in Mayapur. There are 3 teachers, Prahlada Maharaj, Padmanabha Prabhu, and myself. And one of the examples that's given there is like if you ride in the airplane, okay, I mentioned I'm going to be on the airplane in 4 hours. And I don't know what kind of plane. I don't know what are the names of the pilot. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if they're going to go the north route, the south route. I don't know. But I know one thing. When I get on the airplane, they will give a safety announcement. Guaranteed. You fly a plane in China, in Russia, in India, in America, in Chile, in Argentina, in Australia. Guaranteed they will give a safety announcement. When they give you the safety announcement, they tell you what to do if there's trouble. And they specifically say if the plane loses altitude, there's some problem with the oxygen, then this mask will fall down in front of you. Hey, I've never had it happen, but I believe them. I always wonder, how often do they test these things? I mean, everything in the material world sometimes doesn't work. So I hope they test those once in a while. But, so they say the mask will fall down, and then they say what to do with the mask. Anyone remember? What do they say with the mask? Of course, put it on your head, right? But they say first, if you're traveling with someone else, first put it on yourself. They say if you're traveling with some, child or elderly person or someone with some disability, first put it on yourself, then put it on them. Otherwise, there's no air. You're struggling with some child who's saying, I don't want that on my head, Meanwhile, you're not breathing, and then you pass out, you die, the child dies, right? So part of our repaying the debt to the spiritual master means carrying out the mission of the spiritual master, and in order to do that, we have to be strong. We see sometimes in Christian consciousness, sometimes very senior devotees, they have a difficulty and they go away for some time. Usually they always come back, either, hopefully this lifetime. Some come back 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20. So why did they have difficulty? Well, ultimately because they weren't taking care of themselves the way they should have. They weren't being careful. And there's an expression in English, what is it? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, Maya's job is to keep us in the material world. So Maya can make individuals get an illusion, or Maya can take some big person and then 100 people get an illusion, isn't it? Disturb the faith of 100 people. So we have to become strong ourselves, and the more and more responsibility we take, this big point in this seminar just yesterday, and then at the end, everyone went around and said what they thought was most important. One of the principles in that seminar, it's similar to the leadership course, but it's about reflection and introspection, which means this course was put together by very, very senior leaders, maybe 10 years ago, excuse me, and it is encouraging them, you have to be self-reflective. You have to see, where are my strengths, where are my challenges? What is it that helps me become enlivened in Krishna consciousness? What is it that is harmful for my Krishna consciousness? And we're all individuals. There's a basic program given by Srila Prabhupada. But some of us maybe, we love japa. But we don't like, philosophy is difficult for us. Some of us, we love to hear the philosophy. We could read Prabhupada's books all day long. And then when they come and say, Prabhu, come clean the floor. Some of us were like, seva, 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 right? But it's like, you have to read more. Like that. So there's a minimum, right? Chant 16 rounds, 4 regular principles, Bhagavatam, read Prabhupada's books. But we have some individuality. That's natural. And as we go on more and more in Krishna consciousness, in the beginning, not so much individuality. We're learning the basics. As we learn the basics, after some time, we begin to understand what inspires me more. We have to make sure we take full advantage of that. Some of us maybe, I don't know what you do here. Some places they fast on Ekadasi. Everybody fasts, okay? Or individuals, not policy. They fast on Ekadasi. I know some devotees fast. That makes them strong. Others of us, maybe you say, fast all day, no prasad on Ekadasi. It's like, Prabhu, you want me to go join the Gaudiya Math? What's going on? Right? So the minimum is that we know everybody has to fast on Janmashtami, right? Everybody should, no grains, no beans, etc. on Ekadasi. Like that. So there's minimum, but then there's some variety. So that's part of this mask is there for us to get the oxygen. We have to save ourselves first, and then we can help save others. So we need to become self-realized. We need to become pure devotees of Krishna, and not just think that I can stay in the same place. We have to make advancement. The Guru wants us to make advancement in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said there can be so many stars, but we need at least one moon. Like that. So we should all try to become moons in the sky that we can give some example of Krishna consciousness. So how do we repay that debt? Well, first of all, we ourselves have to become Krishna conscious, and we like it describes, we use our wealth, we use our lives to try to please Krishna, to become devotees of Krishna. And then, of course, by sharing Christian consciousness with others. Prabhupada, he started here, right? He started in Kolkata. Did he stay in Kolkata? No. He went all around the world. He came to my country. I spent some time in New York. He went from here to New York to start Krishna consciousness. And the devotees in New York were thinking this, because they were kind of thinking Lower East Side New York is kind of like a fashionable place for young people, rebellious young people. You know, out of the city is all Maya. Uptown is Maya. This is, you know. So when Prabhupada said, okay, I'm going to San Francisco, they were shocked. How can you go to San Francisco? This is a New York thing. I was like, no. This is for the whole world. So then he went to San Francisco, and I think he was there. I think within the same day he got there, he wrote him a letter. You stay strong. But now I'm in San Francisco. He stayed there. He started the movement for some time. They were all thinking he's going to stay forever in San Francisco. Then he went, I think, next to Montreal. And they started in Montreal. And then he went everywhere. And then he started telling his disciples, you go, he sent Borjan Prabhu to Hong Kong. He sent some devotees to Europe. Of course, later the 6 Grahasta, 3 couples he sent. There's a devotee, I forget his name, I apologize, but he would spend a lot of time in Laguna Beach. I was talking to him. He's in Mayapur, Prabhupada disciple. Prabhupada sent him, I think, with some other devotee. I think the other devotee was a sannyasi at the time, and that devotee left. He was for 6 months in a country all by himself. And he said they tried to kill him. He said there was some robberies, some dacoits came, and he said they had a gun in his head. And he was thinking, Krishna, this is it. You know, he was just chanting Hare Krishna. And he said some of the men, they were saying, kill him because we just robbed this place. We can't have witnesses. He said, but the man holding the gun said, no, we shouldn't kill him. So the other man had been holding the gun, finished. So he was there for 6 months, all by himself. What a dedicated servant, right? Sometimes I think, okay, Krishna, I have to go from here to the airport. Don't let me get in Maya. I got 30 minutes alone. Don't let me get in Maya. 6 months alone in a place with no devotees, no temples, nothing. I don't know how he survived. Obviously probably some people from India were there, gave him some shelter, but basically no other committed devotees. So that's the example, giving your life. Devotee Prabhupada gave his life. In the Samadhi in Mayapur, one of the places I like so much, there's a bas-relief of Srila Prabhupada as a sannyasi holding the Bhakti Godhead newspaper with the printer at the print shop. So I was looking at that and I was thinking, this is before Prabhupada went to America. I don't think he had any disciples at that time. He had no backing. He was very, he'd given up the world. He barely had the money to print that Bhakti Godhead. It was very difficult for him. It's explained in the Lilamrita, I believe Lilamrita. Yeah. The Prabhupada would sometimes go to meet the printer to look at it because he would write it, he would edit it, he would check the printing, because in those days everything was hand set. So they would do 1 or 2 and the Prabhupada would look at it, no, this is, you mixed up this paragraph or you changed this letter. Personally, he would check the proofs, they said. So he would come. So this printer said, Swamiji, have you taken any prasad? Have you eaten? Prabhupada, no, it's not important. He would say, Swamiji, you have to eat. No, stop. I'm going to get you something to eat. He was so focused. And he had so little money. So this printer, he's saying, Swamiji, let me get you that. So that's how dedicated he was to the mission of his spiritual master. And, who can say what Krishna revealed in Prabhupada's heart? But it seems like he did not necessarily know in the future the success that ISKCON was going to have. He was just one lone sannyasi, one lone disciple. In the midst of chaos, his guru's mission had basically splintered. And he's just trying to do what he can do in the midst of so much difficulty. Just like here, Siddhama and Krishna, they're in the middle of the forest. It's dark. It's rain. There's flooding. They don't know what's going to happen. Of course, Krishna's God. This is his Leela. But they stuck to the mission. They were there. They were little boys just in the woods collecting firewood for the Guru, but they stuck to the mission. And because of that, we're reading now the blessings of Sandipani Muni. Tomorrow you're going to read about the blessings that he's going to give them. So, in the same way, we want to please our Diksha Guru, our Siksha Gurus, and please Krishna by becoming Krishna conscious and by sharing Krishna consciousness. This Prabhupada is very, we all know, Prabhupada is a great mission. You know, Lord Chaitanya's mission. My name will be heard in every town and village. So Prabhupada took that as an order, really. It's described that some of his God brothers, maybe some others, were thinking, it's just poetic. My name will be heard in every town and village. You know, the sun rose in the sky like a beautiful orange or something. You know, it's like, it's not an orange, it's the sun, but it's poetry. You know, Lord Chaitanya's name will be heard in every town and village. Oh, nice poem. Prabhupada said, no, this is a prediction. I have to try to help. Whatever extent I can help, I have to help. So, and he wanted each of us, and we can see, even in the early days, Prabhupada said, I want all of my disciples, a little controversial these days, but Prabhupada said, I want all of my sons and daughters to become guru, spiritual masters, spread the holy name. Prabhupada, again, he sent these devotees. They've been devotees for 1 month, 1 year, maybe some very short time. He sent us some country, some other foreign country, because the mission was so important. There's one story from Mayapur when they were trying to, it's in Giriraj Maharaj's book, I think, when they were, or maybe Vishaka Mataji's book, when Prabhupada was here in Mayapur, and there was the whole Mumbai temple problem, the property. So at one point, Prabhupada was very concerned they might cancel the contract. So this is maybe what, 1974, 3, something like that, long time ago. So Prabhupada's sending telegrams, but he's worried. He has they're going to make a mistake. So he called Vishaka and Mataji, and he said, I have no one else I can trust. He said, this is not the best to send a single lady all by herself all the way from Mayapur to Kolkata. In those days, it was all trains. Nobody flew. But he sent her there to tell those big devotees in Mumbai, don't sell. Prabhupada says, don't sell, don't cancel the contract. And Prabhupada said, you know, I have no one else I can send. So he sent her. He trusted her. He empowered her. She got there, was too late. And then Prabhupada had to get involved again. And otherwise, we would have lost the whole property like that. But so Prabhupada empowered her. Because same thing, what can I do to please you? There's another beautiful story, just remembering just Mataji's story, but ladies can be very advanced devotees. There was one devotee, Mandakini, and she'd heard some lecture where Prabhupada had said, the disciples should be prepared to do whatever the spiritual master asks, even if it's very difficult. So she was praying, dear Prabhupada, please give me special instructions, some special order from you. So at that time, Prabhupada had recently been in Russia. And when he was in Russia, if you remember the story, they wouldn't let him move about and talk. He met one professor, and then they said, you can take the official tour on the bus with the tour guide. They show you this, that, but you can't get out of the bus. You can't talk to anybody. You cannot talk to other students. You cannot talk to other professors. So Prabhupada was a little frustrated. He came to Russia, he wants to preach. So Shyamasundar Prabhu was going all over Moscow trying to find something to cook. You know, is there some vegetables? Is there some milk? It was not so much. There was meat and other things that we don't eat. So, and when he was running about, he ran into 2 young men, one Russian young man, 20s or something, and his friend from India whose father worked at the embassy. So they saw Shyamasundar with his dhoti and his shaved head. So I recall he was wearing Vaishnav dress. They saw him, and so they asked him, they saw he was Westerner. I'm not sure if he was dressed like a devotee. Maybe not. I'm not sure. I have to check that. But they saw him as a Westerner, so they asked him, do you have any Beatles music? That was their desire. Not so pure, but anyway, that was their desire. And Shamasundar said, no, but the Beatles guru is in a hotel next door. Of course, Prabhupada never claimed to be their guru, but George Harrison very much took shelter, advice, instruction from Prabhupada. They had a very close relationship. Prabhupada glorifies him many, many places. And George Harrison did some records, even a whole album. I personally was in that era. He did a whole album, like maybe 10, 12 songs. 10 of them are directly about Krishna. 2 of them also may be about Krishna. You can't tell, but 10 of them we have to get out of this place by the Lord Sri Krishna's grace. I was like that, I'm living in the material world was the name of the song. So anyway, Shamasundar, he took these 2 devotees back to Prabhupada, and the one of them, the Russian boy, was so interested in hearing. Prabhupada initiated him on the spot. In Malati Mataji, you're not supposed to have scripture in that atheistic time. But she snuck a Bhagavad Gita into the luggage. That's another story. They didn't. So somehow they had a Bhagavad Gita. They left him a Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada gave him initiation. So he's left all by himself to try to spread Krishna consciousness. So flash forward maybe a few months, a year or 2, I'm not sure how long. This devotee had sent a message to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, it would help if I had a wife. I'm all alone. I'm not a brahmachari. It would help if I have a wife. So at the same time, this lady, Mandakini, had heard this lecture. You should be prepared to do whatever the guru asks you. And she was praying, Prabhupada, please give me an instruction. So Prabhupada called her in. I don't know the exact conversation, but Prabhupada called her in and said, I have a special instruction for you. She said, yes, Prabhupada, anything. I want you to go to Russia and marry this boy you've never met. Yes, Prabhupada. And you go to Russia today, she's like the godmother of the whole country. They love her so much. Very wonderful devotee. But that was the degree. She was very young. I don't know, 20 maybe, in that era, roughly. Excuse me. So, similar story here. Sudama and Krishna, for the pleasure of the spiritual master, ready to sacrifice and do everything. So, it's also described, if we please Guru, then we're pleasing Krishna, because the Guru is representing Krishna, helping us understand what Krishna wants. Sometimes it's described, I want to talk about this point a little bit. You said good talk should have 3 points, so here's my second point. First point is we should save ourselves first. Second point is we should repay the debt to the spiritual master, which means saving ourselves and preaching to others, our book distribution, our Harinam, this nice temple, people come here welcoming people. We shouldn't think this is my temple, it's Krishna's temple, and whoever he sends, they're his guests. I'm the servant, right? It's like the servant to the king. When the guest comes to see the king, you treat them with special respect because you're a servant of the king. So the Lord is here on the altar. This is his palace. We're all his servants. So when people come, we should think like that. Sometimes we think, oh, these people come and there's such botheration. No, we exist for them to come. That's why we're here. If there were no conditioned souls in Newtown, we wouldn't be here. We go to Old Town, Kolkata, where all the conditioned souls are. Or we go uptown or downtown or east town or west town. We go where we can find conditioned souls. So when the conditioned souls come, we're devotees that are trying to wake up their Krishna consciousness. Our purpose of being here is to take care of them. We go out in Harinam, we go out in book distribution to try to get people to become devotees, then they come here. So then all the effort we put into bringing them here, we have to take care of them. And I know when we do it in the leadership course and this Guru seminar too, we talk about what are the examples of leaders that gave you faith in Krishna. That's how the courses start. What are examples of leaders? And almost always, it's what attracted them was people were nice to me. And what was the biggest challenge is people were not nice to me. Some leader was really heavy. He embarrassed me in front of everyone else. He took credit for what I did. You know, he said, you live an austere life. I'm going to live a, comfortable. That caused some disturbance. But when devotees were in the mood of, how can I help you? Okay, I'm more senior to you, but my purpose is to help you. Then they weren't very inspired by that. So this last point is described that if we please Guru, we please Krishna, that means, right, automatically everyone is satisfied. Right? If you please Krishna, we hear that. An example is given, the hand feeds the stomach, automatically the hand is nourished, everything is nourished. So why? Well, a couple reasons come to mind. One is because Krishna is the soul of everybody. If you please the soul, you're taking care of your entire existence. So that we know. But also because if we become Krishna conscious, if we please Krishna, part of pleasing Krishna is seeing everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. So if everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, I have to treat them very nicely. So it says if you'll please everyone automatically if you become Krishna conscious. Doesn't just mean some mystical way, that's there, Krishna's there, but also means if I'm pleasing Krishna, Krishna says, Vijavanayi Sampanini, every living entity is part and parcel of him. Well, then if I'm pleasing him, I have to take care of his part and parcel, isn't it? If I go to someone's home and I'm trying to please the head of the family, I'm very respectful to them, but I slap their child. Are they happy? They'll grab me by the throat, throw me out. You nonsense. You think you can honor me and dishonor my son or my daughter? No, you can't do that. So if we're becoming Krishna conscious, automatically others are pleased because automatically we will be more careful how we interact with others. So I'll close with one story. I might have told this last time I was here. I mentioned this last night at this seminar. It's such a beautiful story. There was one devotee, I think his name was Adi Guru, I think. I have to double check that. And he was a relatively new devotee. He was asked to guard Srila Prabhupada's house overnight in New Vrindavan. So he's like the night watchman, right? He's walking around Prabhupada's cabin. He can hear Prabhupada translating, recording his purports. So devotee was there, and it started to rain. So there was kind of like an overhang. I don't know what you would call it here, like a garage, but open. So protection from the rain. So he stepped there to get out of the rain, and he could hear Prabhupada. But then he couldn't hear Prabhupada, and suddenly he realized Prabhupada was standing next to him. Just maybe inside the door, I'm not sure. So he paid his obeisances, and he said, yes, Prabhupada, is there some service I can offer you? And Prabhupada said, yes, you can go where I cannot go. Imagine that. It's the middle of the night, you and Prabhupada. Prabhupada, so you're thinking like, do we need a glass of water? Do you want me to go get, the temple president? Something's not working. What do you want? Prabhupada said, no, you can go where I cannot go. So I think he asked, maybe he was thinking, but I think Prabhupada, where can you not go? He was thinking, you just came from London. Now you're in America. You're on your way to Fiji. Then you're going to go back to India and stop in Hong Kong on the way and south of you. Prabhupada's going everywhere. He said, you can go into the future. Powerful, huh? Prabhupada told him, you can go where I cannot go. You can go into the future. This is a new devotee. This is not like sannyasi, GBC. This is a new devotee. Prabhupada said, you can go into the future. So you're all in the future. So Prabhupada, he's here, he's inspiring us, but he's not present in a physical form. So he wants us to carry forward now. But there's one other thing he said is very powerful. He said, you go into the future and you tell people about, he said, and you preach and people will, he said, you tell people about Krishna. He said, and people will know how much Krishna loves them by how you treat them. That's a heavy responsibility. People forgotten Krishna, They doubt that there's a God. The world, there's so much suffering. How can there be a God? So many wars and suffering and pestilence. And how can there be a God? So we all have faith that there's Krishna because of Prabhupada and because of Prabhupada's representatives. They gave us faith and the Shastra and chanting and so many things. So we also have to help give people faith. So Prabhupada gave this one instruction. How do you do that? People will know how much Krishna loves them by how you treat them. So if we treat people harshly, so you're representative of Krishna, you're harsh to me, so God must be harsh. You don't really care about me, maybe God doesn't care about me. You just think about yourself, okay, maybe Krishna doesn't think about me either. It's a heavy burden, heavy responsibility. And so that's part of our debt to our spiritual master, our Diksha Guru, our Siksha Gurus, Vartma Pradarshika Guru. That's part of our debt. So, I think my watch is wrong. Is this the right time? 7:18? What's the actual time? Okay, good. My watch was running fast. So we have some time for questions then. My watch says, stop talking, time is up. But it's wrong. Be patient. Okay. Any questions anyone might have or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haribo.
Uh, so here you have mentioned 3 points. I think first we have to be too strong enough. We have to take care of ourselves first, and we have to please Krishna. So based, if I please Krishna, we will be servant of the Krishna, and each and every material is part of parcel of Krishna. So they all also get pleased by us.
Yeah, and helping them connect with Krishna.
Yeah, I will all
and representing him.
Yeah, present. So in this material world, we face lot of problems, Prabhuji. Whenever we start serving Krishna, we get out of this bondage of the material world. So in our human body is formed of the 5 materials, just like tattva. And similar way, whatever the senses we have, that is the 5 senses. So to control those 5 senses, is it way around to do this serving the Krishna? Will get out of this illusion of this Maya and will be attracted to the serving the Krishna towards him. Like, because it's very difficult, because as this age we are all affected this Maya. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question really then is, why are we in Maya?
Yes.
Why are we in Maya?
Yes, Prabhuji. Why we are in Maya?
What's the answer to that question? I'm responding to your question first with a question. Why are we in Maya? According to the Vaishnava Acharyas, why are we in Maya?
Basically,
is it that beautiful woman's fault? Is it that wealthy person's fault? Is it my mother's fault? Am I a victim of the society which forces me? Is it my professor's fault? Why are we in Maya? We forgot Krishna. Why did we forget Krishna? We wanted to lord over. We desire Maya, therefore we're in Maya. See? So our philosophy is that Krishna says, Prabhupada says, and then one of those first record, he said very nice, says, we are all originally Krishna conscious. I think he says entities. We're all originally Krishna conscious. Which means at our core, we're Krishna conscious. We just forgotten. The reason we forgot, Buddha talks about this too, the suffering is because of our desire. So we're desiring things that cause us suffering. Just like last night I had a dream. I don't know where I was, but I looked and all my money was gone. I was suffering like anything. so, so luckily they didn't find all my money. I had it in my wallet, It was like, I think the rupees were gone, but I had some dollars stuck in the back. So I want something and it causes me suffering. I know from my life, I look back, the things I wanted the most were the most painful. The things I was most attached to caused me the most pain. So that's the nature of this world. So the senses are dragging us, the mind is dragging us, but it's because we wanted the illusion. So we have to purify that desire. So bhakti is all about not stopping the sentence. There's senses. There's some yoga processes, right? You go to the Himalayas, you sit in ice cold water, you sit outside right in the sun heat above, fire around is torture. Who can do that in this age? Our torture is eat more prasad. That's our tapasya, isn't it? We engage our senses. We use the ears to hear the philosophy, to hear the kirtan. We use our tongue to vibrate Krishna's name, Krishna's philosophy, to taste prasadam. We smell the flowers, offer the incense offered to the deities. We see the deities, we see the devotees, we see Prabhupada. We see the scripture, we see the pictures of Krishna. We purify our senses. So gradually, they become less and less pulling us to Maya and more Krishna. We start realizing Krishna's so beautiful and he never gets old. Like I'm old enough now. People like big movie stars, right? You have Bollywood, we have Hollywood. Big movie stars, such handsome young man. He looks like a prune today. You know prune? It's like like a raisin. You know raisins, right? He was, 30 years ago, he's like the most handsome young man, right? All the women are thinking, oh, he's so handsome. The men are even thinking, oh, he's so handsome. But now he looks like a raisin, you know? She was so beautiful, now she looks like something else, you know? The soul hasn't changed, but the body's changed. So we have to think, why am I allowing myself to be distracted by this illusion? Again, I'm old and I can promise you, all the young, beautiful, handsome people, I can tell you, not just from my own experience, they will become raisins one day, the body. And they die. Death is there. So then with our intelligence, we think, let me engage myself in Krishna's service. And by that contact, Prabhu gives a nice example. Maybe it's from the Bhagavatam. If you take an iron, you put it in the fire. If you keep it there, it becomes fire. You take it out, you touch anything, it catches on fire. It's red hot. You say, touch this. No. Well, it's just iron. No, it's not. It's fire. It's become fire by that contact. So same way, our process is we become Krishna conscious by immersing ourselves in Krishna. And the thing that's very important for all of us, we're all one degree or other like beginners in this process. Don't be disturbed that there's problems. Don't be disturbed. Sometimes you live outside, Prabhu? Where do you live?
I'm living near to the Sapuji.
Outside, okay. So I don't think it'll happen with you, but sometimes people on the outside, they come every day, every morning for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then where'd they go? You don't see them for some time. And then one day they walk in again, week later, month later, 6 months later, 5 years later. Whew, Hare Krishna. I'm glad I'm back. Because desire comes up, Sometimes we're trying very, very hard to be Krishna conscious, and we become very angry, and hopefully none of you ever do. Maybe we yell at someone in the ashram, or we get upset about some small thing. We forget Krishna for a moment, but that's okay. Bring it back to Krishna. Who am I to be angry with you? You're a Vaishnava. Who am I to be upset because something I have got broken? And then we bring our mind back, we bring our senses back. So Krishna consciousness is so nice, and Krishna is so nice. Just like here, it's amazing. This Krishna is talking to Sudama Brahmana, telling him about the times we spent together. Imagine that. Do you remember? Krishna's saying. Sudama's not saying, Krishna, do you remember me? Krishna's saying, Sudama, do you remember the time we spent together? How we were in the forest together? How we held hands in the midst of this is God. This is the person we're worshiping. He's such a loving person. He's telling him, do you remember, my dear Sudama Brahman? And then he writes the pictures there. He sits him down. He's just a humble, poor Brahmin. He sits him down, and in front of Rukmini and all the ladies in the palace, he's washing his feet. That's Krishna. And then he goes home and his whole house turned into a... Materialistic devotees, they like this story. You worship Krishna, your wife becomes beautiful, your house becomes a palace, you have all the money in the world. So that's okay. That's, Krishna's trying to attract everybody. You want a big house, you worship me? Okay. But the thing is with us, you get a big house and you realize, what good is this house if I don't make it Krishna conscious? You can have the biggest house in the world. You can have the most money in the world. You can be the most famous person in the world. You can have the most beautiful wife in the world. You can have the most power in the world. But without Krishna, it doesn't make you happy. But you can be a poor man, simple situation. If you have Krishna, then we're happy. So that's what the Acharyas say. That's what the Shastra says. And that's what we're trying to realize. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. That's okay. Another questions I have, Prabhu.
Anybody else, though? Let's share, okay? Because we just have a couple minutes. Now this clock is telling.
Hare Krishna. Just wanted to check, I'm so inspired by your serving such a long age, like 50 years constantly.
48, but I'm going to make it to 50.
So we have just
with
began.
all of your help and your prayers, please. You also pray.
We have
for
just began in our Krishna consciousness. So just wanted to know what all the principles you kept in your life very strongly following, so that you keep
devotee association.
Okay.
Don't give up devotee association. Make sure you have one or two friends you can always take shelter of, right? Describes, right? Revealing our mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially. Because, the mind is there. Sometimes the weather gives us trouble. Sometimes there's family trouble, father, mother, sister, brother, some grahastas, children, wives, husband. The body gives trouble. There's so many distractions. But if we have nice association with devotees, we'll always be protected. And we have to give nice association as devotees. Part of that is sometimes being able to hear. A devotee says, I'm having some trouble, my mind is disturbed. Don't just chastise each other, listen to each other. Prabhu, it's understandable. All our minds wander sometime. This also bothers me sometimes. That's okay. Krishna loves us no matter what. Paramatma, he doesn't go away. Oh, look, you nonsense. You thought this thing? Oh, poof, I'm gone. Does he do that? You go, it's described. I mean, it's inconceivable. You take birth as a pig. Paramatma's there. Because we're so dear to him. So, Prabhupada says, it's very nice on that same first record. I just heard this the other day and it just struck me. Prabhupada says Krishna is ever inviting the conditioned souls back. Ever inviting. Never stops. Never stops inviting us. He's so kind. And we see this with this story. He's so kind. So how can we not want to try to surrender to him? And we all know, you try to enjoy this material world, it always comes up shallow. Something's missing. First canto Bhagavatam, it describes there's a pinprick. Like, sometimes they give you the beautiful garland. Sometimes they pinned it up for the Lord. They give it to you and they give you garland. Ow! Ooh. Well, I had it happen one time. There was a new pillow. They had given a new pillow. The pillow was pinned. It actually happened. I talk about it sometimes, but then it happened. I'm sitting, ooh. Looks like a very nice pillow, It looks very nice. You buy a nice apartment, you think, oh, now everything will be peaceful. No, the electricity doesn't work. Oh, very nice apartment. Oh, this is rusting. The plumbing quit working. I had a friend lives in Canada. It's a cold place, right? Devotees, grahastas, they bought a new house, like they have like a row house, like in a row, right? Canada. Winter came, so much cold air was coming through the walls. They couldn't figure out why so much cold air. So then they called and complained. The builder came. No one put any insulation in the walls. Like here you have solid walls. In the West, they have like an outside wall, inside wall. In between, they put some kind of fiberglass or styrofoam or something. Stops the heat from coming, stops the cold. They didn't do it. So you have like a hollow wall, like a half inch and a half inch and just air. So it's winter times, freezing cold, because they didn't put in. So you spend so much money, they cheat you. You get a nice house, only pain, only difficulty. So we have to have a house. We have to take care of our bodies. You know, people that are married have to take care of their children. People that are brahmacharis, you need to live in association with other men in the ashram. So there's always going to be some difficulty, but the difficulty we accept for Krishna. Versus if I'm thinking this house is my source of pleasure, it's just painful. But I'm thinking this house is for Krishna, I take care of it nicely for him. It's his property. There's some problem, okay, I don't disturb. I have to take care of it even better than if I owned the house. If I owned the house, I can think, who needs to take care of this house? I don't want to take care of the house. But if I'm a devotee, I have to take care of the house. I have to keep it clean. I have to keep it neat. I have to keep everything working because it's Krishna's. You know, I have to keep the body healthy because it's Krishna. I have to get enough sleep. It's not Maya. Sleeping is not Maya. If we get just the right amount, you sleep all day, that's Maya. You eat all day, that's Maya. But if you don't eat to be strong for Krishna, that's Maya. Sometimes you have to go to the doctor. I'm going to Mumbai. Stop at the hospital for one day. Check out my old machine. Make sure everything's working right. Not for me. It is for me, but it's really for Krishna. It's his body. I have to keep it healthy for him. Okay, so devotee association is very important. I have one or two friends when I'm having some difficulties, some problems, some worry. I can call them up and talk with them openly, honestly. I don't read it in the headlines of the newspaper. It's not on social media tomorrow. Anuttama said, we don't need those kind of friends. We need friends we can trust. And you should be trustworthy. And then you have that association. Someone who can rejoice with us in the happy times, someone who can help us through the difficult times. There will be difficult times. Don't think there won't be. There will be difficult times. But if you have devotee association, you'll get through. Just like Sudama Brahmana. There was a flood. There was a rainstorm. There were winds. But Krishna was there with him. They made it through. Okay? So the curtains are supposed to open now? Or? They shouldn't wait for the class to end. They should just come and blow the conch. Should we keep going till they blow the conch, or what should we do? You went? Okay, we stop? Okay, we'll stop there. Thank you all very much. Some of you took notes. That's very nice to see you taking notes to help us remember these things. So please keep in mind a few things. One, Krishna, like the story shows, Krishna is such a lovable person. He's loving and he's lovable. He's not just the absolute truth from which everything comes from. The universes come from his pores. Yeah, that's there. But he's also tied up by Mother Yashoda. You know, he's the supreme Paramatma in everyone's heart, but he's also the friend of Sudama Brahmana. You know, so many examples. So this is the nature of Krishna as revealed by the Acharyas. So he's worth surrendering to. He's so special, we can surrender to him. I have one picture at home. It's in my phone, but I couldn't find it. Prabhupada, this quote, Prabhupada says, just be in love with Krishna. And he says, how you will avoid insufficiency, how you'll feel peaceful, you'll feel joyful. He said, just be in love with Krishna. So right now, we're not so much convinced that I can trust Krishna. Krishna, maybe I don't know if I want to give my heart to you. Won't you hurt me? Everyone else in this world has hurt me. For maybe millions of lifetimes. Everyone let us down. Even the best friend, they died. They left us. Okay, it's the nature of this world. But Krishna says, you trust me, I'll take care of you. The whole Bhagavad Gita at the end, Krishna says, Arjuna, now what are you going to do? I explained everything to you. Now it's your choice. Do you trust me now? So now we trust him. That means blow the conch. I just learned some Bengali speech. Body language, right? We talk communicate body language, so you just, yes, blow the conch up. Okay? Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.